The only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions from around your block to around the world. The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com. The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center.
Yes, indeed, Westside Decorating Center, 5789 State Street in Saginaw. Your one-stop shop for all your home decorating needs. Good morning. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show. And we're going to begin by talking about nutrition and stress and how they do or don't go together. And we do that with our good friend from Blue Cross Blue Shield, where she is a registered dietitian. We say good morning to Shanthi Appelo. Morning, Shanthi.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to connect the dots here. I'm a clock eater. 7 o'clock in the morning, noon, 6 o'clock in the evening, boom, boom, boom. That's my life. I'm
Sounds like my dogs. No.
If I miss it or if I'm late, I get stressed. And I've always been that way. Always had a regimen of when I eat.
Yeah.
It's foolish in a way, isn't it?
I don't know that it's foolish. Our bodies respond well to a sense of routine, and our circadian rhythm works really well with a regular eating schedule. So I can definitely see how going off tempo would throw you off and cause more stress. And that's actually something that can exacerbate the problem when we're stressed. So the relationship between nutrition and stress is kind of bidirectional. So if we're eating poorly, it can exacerbate stress. And if we're very stressed, we tend to not maybe eat so healthy. And there's a number of things involved in that. So, hormones, the circadian rhythm that you mentioned, and all kinds of things.
Let's talk about the food itself.
Yeah.
Let's say I eat at that regular schedule. Does what I eat have influence on stress?
Yeah, it does. And there's a few foods that can actually help decrease stress, and some foods that can maybe exacerbate it. So, the way that I like to think about it is that when we're stressed, or just in general, we need kind of a consistent intake of healthy foods, complex carbohydrates to keep our energy levels up. So, oftentimes when we're stressed, we might be craving more high fat, kind of highly processed foods. And that's kind of for a reason. So we have this stress hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol in and of itself isn't necessarily bad, but during times of chronic stress, it's kind of in overload. And that very hormone makes us crave more of these types of foods. So that's why when we're stressed, it's really important to not only consume, healthy nutrients, but also keep it at that steady pace. But there are also some nutrients that can help work against stress. One of those things is going to be, for example, omega-3 fatty acids. And that's because it can help lower inflammation. It can actually help reduce those cortisol levels, that stress hormone that we talked about. And we find those in things like salmon and mackerel and even flax seeds and walnuts.
So how does this work for someone who may be, let's say, a type 2 diabetic?
Mhm.
And you mentioned those complex carbohydrates we need.
Yeah.
How do we balance that out? And do diseases like that cause stress?
So, I think dealing with any kind of chronic illness can certainly be stressful. You have to keep a lot more things in mind than someone, for example, who doesn't have type 2 diabetes. But, complex carbohydrates are not bad for someone who has type 2 diabetes. It's just the amount and what you're balancing it with. So, for example, something like brown rice, quinoa, um, whole wheat bread, those types of carbohydrates are gonna cause a steady flow of energy, and they don't tend to go to the blood as fast as those kind of simple carbohydrates like straight sugar. So if we balance it out with a good source of protein and fat, it also doesn't go to our blood as fast. And so there's definitely ways to work around that. And people with diabetes should certainly still eat carbohydrates.
It's often been said breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is that still true?
Mhm. Breakfast definitely sets us up for success. It gives us that steady energy that we keep mentioning, to keep us fueled throughout the day. We may not have these crashes throughout the day if we eat breakfast, And it really is so important for our brain to function at its best. Tends to be that way, but of course, people work differently, and it's all about what works for you. But I'm definitely a fan of breakfast.
How balanced does it have to be, or should it be?
I believe that every meal that you have should have some sort of protein to keep you full until the next meal. Again, those complex carbohydrates are always a good idea. It doesn't have to be a lot, right? Just something to give you that energy. But the way that I like to think of these nutrients too, is we're talking about this idea of stress prevention and things like that, is that the the more nutrients we're able to pack into meals, the more we're getting to sustain our body. Actually, you know what? Another really important nutrient in this stress conversation, as we're talking about breakfast, could be probiotics. And the reason I say could is because we don't really know all that we need to know about probiotics. They are the healthy bacteria in our gut that helps, it helps things move and support a healthy gut microbiome. But the reason I say that is because the gut is sort of your second brain. 90% of serotonin is made in our digestive tract. It's that feel good neurotransmitter, right? And so the thought is, if we have these probiotic rich foods like yogurt, fermented vegetables, things like that, it could help support our mental health, which could also help support our stress. So, when we support our gut, it has been linked to this mood regulation and stress management.
So you mentioned yogurt.
Yeah.
So in the morning, if you have for breakfast a container of, let's say, Greek yogurt with blueberries, I don't know, is that considered good? And is
Yeah,
that
that's a great
considered?
breakfast. I'd say that what you want to shoot for in any meal, especially for like one of your main meals, is at least three food groups. So you've got your fruit covered there, you've got your protein covered, but we may want to see uh, a little bit of fat and something like a carbohydrate. It can be something simple like a piece of toast.
Ooh, so you could have the yogurt, the blueberries, the toast, and you're done.
Yeah. Bada
Wow.
bing, bada boom.
Where do the Oreo cookies fit in that? Had to ask.
Those are for later.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Just had to
as
ask. I mean,
Yeah, a really interesting study, as we're also talking about this idea of stress and nutrition, is the way that it can impact our metabolism. I think this is something that is top of mind for people because, as we age, our metabolism tends to decrease and that kind of thing. So these high levels of stress are actually associated with lower levels of calories burned. So there was a really interesting study. It was a double-blind randomized control trial. It was published in Biological Psychiatry. And when I say that double-blind randomized control trial, that's kind of the gold standard in
mhm.
research. That means that the participants and the researchers don't know what type of intervention they're receiving, right? And so what they did, they looked at 58 women who had had some kind of stressful episode the day before a high-fat meal. They gave them basically a double whopper and fries. It was like,
Ooh.
yeah, a 900 calorie meal or so. And they found that the women who had had a high stress event before this meal had a lower metabolism. They broke down calories slower than those who didn't have a high stress event the day before, and it was something that could result in as high of a 11-pound weight gain over a year. So it's something significant if someone continues to have these high stress events. And when I say high stress events, this could be something like a disagreement with your spouse. It could be something like having a bad day at work. Maybe you're having a disagreement at work, those kind of stressors. So if we're chronically having those alongside high fat meals, which we tend to crave, it can actually lead to weight gain over time.
All right, hang on. Take a break and come back. We're talking to Shanthi Appelo from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, and we will be back with her after these notes. You can qualify right now to win a trip for two of your choice from a destination on a designated list. Qualify for the random drawing by entering this word online at WSGW.com. The word this hour is dollar, DOLLAR. You win the trip. It won't cost you $1. Choose your trip. An Alpha Media Company-wide contest. Must be 18 or older to play. One winner chosen. Complete rules at WSGW.com.
Looking for savings while filling up at the pump? Look no further than Fuel Rewards at one of our 26 local Forward Shell convenience stores. Get 10 cents off per gallon when you purchase any 3 Rockstar Energy 16-ounce drinks, or 10 cents off per gallon when you purchase any 2 Icebreakers Ice Cube 40 packs. Visit fuelrewards.com to sign up and learn more. Fuel Rewards at your local Forward Shell convenience stores, a family-owned Michigan tradition since 1925.
The Michigan Lottery presents a pop quiz. It's almost as easy as new Cash Pop. Question 1. How many numbers does it take to win Cash Pop? A, 1. Question 2. How many Cash Pop numbers do you choose from? Is it A, 15? Question 3. How much can you win playing Cash Pop? A, up to $5,000? Okay, if you answered A, you deserve a Cash Pop. Match 1 and you won. New from the Michigan Lottery. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Did you know that every day Preborn's network of clinics experiences 200 miracles? How? Preborn gives women with unplanned pregnancies a window into their womb through free ultrasounds, introducing them to the beautiful life growing inside. Once she meets her child inside her womb and hears their heartbeat, the chance of her baby's life doubles. Because of the generosity of you and me who donate $28 to sponsor an ultrasound, Preborn can do this. The cost of a dinner to save a life, the most worthwhile investment you can make. All gifts are tax deductible and go entirely to saving babies. Someday you may meet a baby that you rescued and you can give them a hug, or maybe they'll give you a hug. Maybe they'll even save your life as they grow and pursue meaningful careers. One thing's for sure, you'll never regret saving a child's life, because life is a miracle. All gifts are tax deductible and will go directly towards saving babies' lives. Donate securely at preborn.com/give life. That's preborn.com/give life. Sponsored by Preborn.
I'm Stuart Varley, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks open firmly higher. Earnings news is mostly upbeat. General Motors shares up more than 5%. Car shoppers continue to spend. GM says its consumer has been remarkably resilient under high interest rates. It was selling more gas-powered pickups and SUVs in the quarter, pushing earnings up 24% from a year ago, and GM is optimistic about the year. GE Aerospace reported an upbeat quarter and raised its forecast. That stock also up 5%. Home builder Pulte Group shares up nearly 2%. Pulte's earnings topped estimates, and it predicts it will benefit from the housing shortage. PepsiCo shares down 2%. Its quarter was strong, though it is seeing some customers pulling back. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Something amazing is happening in education. Students are inspired and engaged. That's because school districts consulted with CDW, who designed modern classroom solutions with pre-configured HP devices, making learning more accessible, secure, and immersive. Now, when students study topics like elephants, it feels like elephants are there with them. HP and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/HPPSG.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
Active Liver is one of many award-winning health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at Amazon.com or for a volume discount, visit newnordicusa.com. Available as a tablet or delicious sugar-free gummy. Protect and help your liver the easy and effective way with Active Liver at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Check down behind the net. Appelo makes a Willis shoots. Oh, side they score!
Brings the house down. It's do or die as the Saginaw Spirit return home Tuesday night to face off against the Sioux Greyhounds and decide the winner of this second-round playoff series in Game 7. Game day coverage begins at 6:50 on your home for Saginaw Spirit Hockey, 100.5 FM, WSGW.
And tickets are going quickly, so if you need them, get a hold of the Spirit today for tonight's game, Game 7. Back with Shanthi Appelo from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, where she is a nutritionist, registered dietitian. That study you mentioned was 59 women. What happened to us dudes?
Yeah. So, it's difficult to infer that it would apply in the same way. But, I'd be interested to see a similar study replicated in males.
In studying nutrition, is there a difference the way men and women process food?
That's such a deep question. I think our needs are very different, and that goes down to the nutrients that we need, the stage of life that we're in, and all kinds of things. For example, men need more fiber than women. Women need more of certain nutrients during pregnancy and lactation, and the way that we digest may not be so different, but our needs certainly differ. So there could be a role of different hormones and things like that play a role in the digestion. So it's difficult to say.
So we all love the magic pill. One pill's going to cure all.
Yeah.
What's the difference in getting my nutrition from supplements? Some of them are very well advertised. Or sitting down and eating broccoli and leafy greens and a piece of red meat or chicken or fish. Is there a difference in how my body processes those nutrients?
There is, and there's a big difference actually. Well, it depends on the nutrient. So what's great about eating food in its regular form is that our foods or nutrients in food work in synergy with each other. So sometimes we don't really know exactly what it is that makes them work in synergy, but I'll give you an example. So beta carotene is a nutrient that we see in carrots, these like bright yellow foods. It gets converted to vitamin A in our body, so it's beneficial for eyesight, things like that. And so when we consume that in something like carrots and foods like that, it can be preventive of a lot of cancers. However, in supplement form, if consumed too much, it can actually increase the risk for certain cancers in previous
Oh,
smokers. So there's a magic link with certain foods or components of certain foods that work together that you don't see in supplement form. And so you don't get all of those other important nutrients. However, if you're deficient, supplements are definitely the way to go, but there's really a lot of research lacking in the supplement space. There's not a lot of research that says they're going to help you live longer. There's not a lot of research that says that it's going to make you healthier overall. So I say food first always.
let's go back to that carrot for a minute. And it's beta carotene.
Hmm.
If I take a carrot, peel it, and just gnaw away on it, I'm
Hmm.
getting a raw carrot,
Yeah.
crunchy, delicious carrot.
Yeah.
If I cook it, which I'm not a fan of, I love carrots raw and I don't like them cooked. Have I
Uh-huh.
cooked out some of the nutrients when I cook a carrot?
Yeah. So generally, and I don't know, how much is lost at the top of my head, right? But in general, water soluble vitamins, so vitamins C, the B vitamins,
Well,
A,
the
D,
ones that
E,
are
and
good
K
for
are
you.
fat soluble, right? So the water soluble vitamins are more sensitive to heat. And so they can be destroyed by different cooking processes, but it really depends on the temperature and the amount of time that you're cooking it for. That said, though, there are actually nutrients that can be enhanced by cooking. Lycopene, for example, is one of those. You can find that in tomatoes. It's an antioxidant. So, uh, whenever you can tomatoes, it's actually more bioavailable, this lycopene. And also, when you cook tomatoes, it's more bioavailable. So, there's pros and cons to both. Generally, the raw version of foods will have more, but it's not always the case.
You mentioned a couple of words. Let's get some definitions. Antioxidant. What
Yeah.
is an antioxidant?
Yeah, so an antioxidant is a type of chemical. It can be vitamin, for example. They're like vitamin E is an antioxidant. But basically, we have these things in our body called reactive oxygen species that form when we are under stress, when there's environmental triggers. And so, maybe if you're a smoker, these reactive oxygen species aren't healthy for us. When they're in excess, they can increase our risk for cancer because they can destroy our DNA. So the thought is we have these antioxidants which help kind of bind to these reactive oxygen species that are harmful and reduce the level of inflammation and kind of help neutralize the harm in your body.
Probiotics.
Yeah.
What is it? What does it do? We hear the term all the time.
Yeah, so probiotics are healthy gut bacteria or healthy bacteria that we can consume from food. So a really common one is lactobacillus, but there are thousands and thousands of strains. There's supplement form. If people want to consume probiotics from supplements, the best way to do it is to get one with the most amount of bacteria in there, the most number of strains. But there's just not a lot of research into these because there are thousands and thousands of them, but we believe them to be beneficial. There's also something called prebiotics. So these are really beneficial because they're actually these non-digestible components that these probiotics feed off of. So the probiotics, these healthy gut bacteria, need something to feed off of in order to flourish and to do our gut well. And that's where these prebiotics come in. They're in a lot of fibery foods. Bananas have a lot, raspberries have a lot. And so when you see supplements of probiotics, you'll often see them with prebiotics too.
All right. So last question. We'll go back to where we started with stress and nutrition. If somebody is under stress,
Yeah.
what should they be looking at in the way of food?
So, I mentioned that probiotics could be helpful. I mentioned omega-3 fatty acids could be helpful. Eating a complex carbohydrate diet is helpful. Magnesium is also a nutrient that plays a role in stress or could play a role in stress. We really need more research on this to really define that. But the reason for this is that foods rich in magnesium could help regulate cortisol levels and promote this relaxation. You may have seen on social media this sleepy girl mocktail that has the
Yeah.
magnesium in it. But of course, I am a fan of food first. So pumpkins and chia seeds, pumpkin seeds and chia seeds are going to be rich in that. Almonds and cashews, spinach, black beans, even soy milk, edamame. Lots of foods rich in magnesium, so those could be great. Um, I will say that in research, we've seen that sometimes during stress, magnesium levels can dip a little bit. That's why we see that it could be beneficial to eat some of these foods during stress. More research is needed, but ultimately, our overall population, we don't see a lot of magnesium deficiency.
Someone wants more information, website?
Yeah, a healthiermichigan.org. We've got recipes, we've got more information on things like that we talked about today, and it's a free resource.
It's always a pleasure, Shanthi. Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Art.
Have a good one.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Shanthi Appelo, and she is a registered dietitian with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan.